Lock the door, a midnight robbery or carjacking? This true story happened just a couple of months ago, last summer, just after I graduated from Springfield High School. I'd been hanging out with a bunch of my friends at a pizza place with nothing to do. We just had a pizza and laughed at stupid jokes. It was close to midnight and I was the only one with a car, so I dropped everyone off at their homes, which were all close to each other. I lived the furthest away, 15 minutes drive back roads. My parents' house was just outside town. It was farther than I liked, but I didn't mind it either. When I dropped the last guy off, it was already midnight. The roads around Springfield were pretty lonesome and I hardly saw a car. After only 5 or 6 minutes, I had left the residential areas and was already on the state route. I saw the street signal go yellow at a crossroad, so I slowed down and stopped. This area is more rural. There are no sidewalks and only cornfields at this intersection. As I sat at this red light, it felt like forever. It is the longest red light in the middle of nowhere in the middle of the night. I'm sure it wasn't as long as it felt, but it was a long wait late at night with no one on the roads. I even thought about just driving through it. I never actually considered doing it, but the point is the light is seriously long. So I sat and pushed the select music button, waiting for it to turn green. This was when I noticed this guy coming out of the cornfield. This is strange for several reasons. One, there was nothing out there. And second, it was after midnight. What was this guy doing out on this road? The man hidden in the dark was still visible to me. He had scraggly hair and was wearing a wife-beater t-shirt that was pretty dirty when he passed in front of my car. He had a cigarette in one hand and the other hand in his pants pocket. He didn't look at me but walked with his head down. He traipsed through the headlights and I thought he would keep walking, but he stopped unexpectedly, turned, and directly faced me. He stepped closer to the front of the car, and I got the worst feeling something terrible was about to happen. At first, he just stood there staring at me for 25 seconds. Then, in a second, he was at my passenger side door. It looked like he was about to tap on the window, but he just opened the door. I had forgotten to lock the door. This strange, dirty man dropped into the passenger seat and grabbed my arm and steering wheel simultaneously. I jolted at him, shoving him away with all my might, screaming at him, "Get out! Get out!" He was overpowering me. He was leaning on the seat with his feet still outside the car and his arms fighting with me. With all my might, I was pushing him with my shoulder, but I didn't have good leverage. Then he fell onto the dash, had to use his hands to support himself off the floor and slipped backward out of the car. At that moment, I floored the gas and spun out of there as fast as the car would. The last that I remember was the scraggly man standing on the side of the road. It happened in the blink of an eye at a forever red light. I was still in shock when I got home 10 minutes later. Still, I regained myself and called the police, who investigated the incident as an attempted robbery and attempted carjacking. Regrettably, the police have yet to inform me if they have captured the guy. Blood-curdling screams. Was someone lost in the woods, or was it murder? I get off work at midnight, and most of the time, I drive the same route home. But this night, I swung by a late-night convenience store, so I took a back way home. It was 12:15 or a little later. In my town, they roll up the sidewalks at dark, so it was dead. Just the store clerk and I are still up. On the back way home, there aren't a lot of houses. One side of the road is mostly cornfield and the other is a forest. Since it was summer and a lovely balmy night, I had all the windows down and wasn't driving particularly fast. When I heard this frightening scream, someone in trouble, I slammed on the brakes and stopped by the side of the road, the forest to my right, and listened. And there it was again, a woman's voice screaming from the woods. She was yelling for help. I got out of the car and yelled, "Where are you?" The woman responded, "I'm here, please help me." It was a crying voice. Without thinking, I pushed branches aside and made my way into the forest. I was calling out again and again, "Where are you?" She kept screaming, "Help! Help!" every few seconds. I kept moving in that direction, pushing my way through the brush. Then it seemed I wasn't getting any closer to the woman. The voice, too, kept moving deeper and deeper into the forest. The cry was always the same distance off. I'd yell to her, and a few seconds later, she'd cry for help. I froze in my steps at this point. I didn't like the feeling that came down upon me. I was walking into a trap of some kind. I retraced my steps, pushing the brush aside and running back to my car. I could see the headlights through the trees as I got closer to the road, and at the same time, I could hear the woman crying, and no matter how fast I went, she was the same distance behind me. I was being chased. I got into my car, breathing hard, started the engine, and drove out of there as fast as I could. I was totally creeped out as I punched 911 on my cell phone. I wasn't sure if they would believe me, but they did say they would send a trooper to investigate. The next day, I told my mom and dad the story of the night drive home and the terrifying experience in the forest. 10 days after, a hunter training his dog found a woman's body in her mid-30s in the woods near the road where I heard screams for help. The newspaper reported that there was no evidence of homicide or anything. What killed her or how she died remains a mystery. Blood on her face, a knife in her hand. What would you do? It was late August and I was 17 years old, almost 18, and would enter UNC in September. My high school buddy and I were just hanging out, waiting for summer to end, enjoying our last free summer. We lived in Black Mountain, a small town in North Carolina not far from the Blue Ridge Parkway and the National Forest. There isn't any nightlife here, so you have to find ways to entertain yourself, but that was never a problem for us. We always found ways to have fun. The night started out uneventful as we cruised the town looking for girls. After no success, we went to the Adventure Zone to play laser tag and stayed until they closed. We then walked the quiet streets pretending to be badass until midnight. We never presented any danger to anyone and were never bothered by anyone either, as there isn't any violent crime in Black Mountain. After walking through the town, we got hungry. We headed to Marion by car, not too far away because they had a Waffle House, about the only all-night restaurant in this part of North Carolina. At 2 a.m., hash browns scattered, smothered, and covered did the trick on our hunger, but we were not tired or ready to go home. In rural North Carolina, late-night drives were something we regularly did for fun. This part of North Carolina near the Blue Ridge is very mountainous with many backcountry roads that are a blast to drive and, at night, even thrilling. I have only driven this particular road a couple of times before, and that was in daylight. It wasn't far from where we lived. We just never had a reason to go on that road. It turns to dirt after a short way and at times is very muddy and often washed out. It isn't well maintained because there are so few houses on it, just a couple of old farms. As we were not accustomed to this road and so many deer about at this time of night, we were driving at a crawl. It wasn't much different from the many roads we had explored on night drives. No other cars did we see and only a handful of dark houses. We were sure we wouldn't encounter any other people. It was even easy to drive past a house without even seeing it. But one place caught our attention. There was one light on the front porch and a man was standing there under the porch light. He wasn't clear to us. We couldn't make out any distinctive features, but we could see that he was watching us. He was just standing there, motionless, looking in our direction. It was just a little creepy how he was watching us. We thought he was just out having a late-night cigarette or beer or something, but his demeanor was really mysterious. Nothing happened, so we kept driving. This was just the first thing that preceded the terrifying moments to come. In another quarter mile, we returned to a paved state route that I often drove. The jolt we got from the man soon passed as we picked up speed and left him far behind. We liked this road because it edged around the mountain and had an incredible vista of the town lights below. We turned left after a mile and then another right to return home. This road passes through another forested area we were familiar having driven it hundreds of times. It leads to the main highway. Before we reached the turn onto the highway, we saw in our headlights what we thought was a deer. Deer are a nuisance around here and a danger on the roads, so we slowed down. As we got closer, we saw it wasn't a deer. It was a human stooped over, their back toward us, walking in the left lane facing traffic if there was any. I looked at my buddy as we passed them and he said, "Who is walking at this time of night?" I turned and looked as we passed and I can see it was a woman, perhaps with long, unkempt hair, mostly black but with some gray, and she was dressed in all white. When we were alongside, she turned straight towards us and we got a good look at her face. She had deep eye sockets with heavy black bags under her eyes. Her hair was greasy and straggly, hanging over the wrinkly skin of her face. She looked like someone on drugs or like a meth addict. She looked easily 50, but I'm sure she was only in her late 30s. But the worst part was just about to happen. She raised her hands and waved them frantically as she ran at us. As she did this, we could see dried blood stained on the front of her clothes, and she was holding a butcher knife in one hand that she was holding above her head. I floored the gas pedal and didn't let my foot up until we were on the highway. We were white with terror, our hands shaking from fright. In a small town, everyone seemed to know everyone, but we had never seen this woman before. We watched the news for days to hear if she was ever picked up, arrested, or found dead somewhere. However, we never saw or heard of her again. To this day, I can't justify why she was walking on that back road at almost 4 o'clock in the morning in her condition, covered in blood and carrying a butcher knife. Jumping ahead to the present day, I graduated from UNC and work in Asheville, not far up the road from Black Mountain. I live on a quiet stretch of road, not far from where this episode occurred. I travel this route often and have not seen any sign of that crazed woman. The police busted a dogfighting ring where we saw that man on the front porch. I don't know if it was the same house, but it was right in that area. After I read that online, I wondered if it was the same place we passed on the night we saw the woman. Was the man out as a guard for the dogfight ring that night? As for that scary woman, I hope I never re-encounter her.